Good morning and welcome back to the Gaming with ADHD Deep Dive live stream where I am joined today by Seraphis. Actually, I'm pointing the wrong direction. There we go. To go through the Eberron campaign setting for Dungeons & Dragons version 3.5. Seraphis, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm camera shy today.
You're camera shy today.
No, I'm good. Yeah, you know.
I mean, we were ready 5 minutes ago, but we got distracted, Malachi. Exactly. We were having a lovely chat, as it were. Anyways. But man, I'm actually kind of shocked. This is literally like, I think this is like our 7th or 8th episode already, and I'm kind of shocked that we've gone this long. I'm very excited.
Just wait till Sunday.
Sunday?
Yes. It'll be it'll be 15 episodes.
Oh my god! You're talking about the Talkin' Drek.
Yeah.
Holy, dude, seriously, where did this year go?
I don't know, but I'm glad it's going quickly.
You're glad it's going quickly. Hey, the faster it goes, it's just the more time before you get your BattleTech Kickstarter.
But again, by that point, I'll have my own Irby. I'll just be riding around in that. I won't care about the little plastic thing that big anymore. I'll be in my cockpit going, well, I mean, it's not what I would have preferred, but oh well. I still get the voiceover. Reactor online.
Man, that's
online, weapons online.
That's a better reaction than I thought. I thought I was about to lose a co-host over that comment, but
no, I'm looking on the bright side of it, which is the fact that I'll have, actual mechs. Actual mechs will exist before I get that stupid Kickstarter. So
who knows? Maybe we can just say screw it and just build mechs in Eberron somehow. There's got to be a way to do it, right?
Yeah. Titan Warforged. Oh, hey, you play Warhammer,
no, but a mech that you can pilot.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you can build an airship, you could build a mech.
Yeah. You start off with a Titan Warforged, and then you build it up using the mechanics from an elemental vehicle. That way you've got a controller, an elemental in a Kyber Dragon Shard powering it, and then you've got the Titan Warforge's smashy attacks.
Yeah, stick that in your Earth Dawn Legion of Myth. Take that. We are crossing all the streams today.
Just quickly though, so with the Warhammer thing, right? I was thinking about this the other day. You could it wouldn't be far-fetched to make a campaign adventure where you're being dispatched by, say, House Canath South to the Karnath territories to take down a lord who has been stealing artificers to make a Warforged who has an entombed Deathless in it. AKA a Warhammer Dreadnought.
Oh. That's fair. Or you could put one of the elves in there.
Well, then would be going to Aranel.
That's true. I'm just saying there's options. There's options for it.
Yeah. But just ideas I've been having and thinking about, depending on what happens next year.
What happens next year?
Well, once we get this finished.
Oh, once we get this. Oh, that's true. That's fair. Man. Are we going to get this finished? I mean, we'd have to get started today, but I mean, anyway, I just figured we'd stall for a minute.
Doesn't end.
No. I got overtime to do. It's got to end at some point. Anyhow, so all right. Well, folks, we've stalled long enough. You're kind of probably tired of our banter at this point. But don't worry, there'll be more as we go along. So,
especially in this section.
Especially in this section. So, real quick, everybody, don't forget, like the video, subscribe if you're new here. We do these live streams every Wednesday. Seraphis will be with me at least through the Eberron book. And we'll see what happens moving forward. But regardless, we're having a lot of fun, and we hope you are all as well. So, and eventually I'll have little fancy graphics and we'll do stuff like that. But all right. On that note, let's let me see here. Let me go ahead and change my camera around, move things, add that. All right. You ready to go?
Sure. Do you want me to start?
No, I want to start. I like the dragon marks. That's kind of my favorite thing. So, and I have unintentionally made you cover just like some massive sections. So I realize this isn't that large, but I can take a hit, so that's fine. All right, so dragon marks. Magic is the lifeblood of Eberron, encircling it like the ring of Sybaris and seeping up through the earth from the bones of Kyber. Perhaps the clearest manifestation of this pervasive magic is the appearance of dragon marks. Among 7 of Corvair's common race, Perhaps the clearest manifestation of this pervasive magic is the appearance of dragon marks among 7 of Corvair's common races. Dragon marks are elaborate skin patterns, more intricate and colorful than birthmarks, more distinctive than any tattoo, that also grant their bearers innate spell-like abilities. There are 12 families of dragon marks, each one associated with a number of closely related manifestations. A 13th mark, the Mark of Death, has faded from history, and no living creature on Eberron carries it. To possess a dragon mark...
Technically true.
That's technically true. I mean, we'll get there. Which I'll be honest, some of our discussions from last week, I'm actually really interested to read more about the War of the Mark, just to understand the aberrant marks a little bit better. Yep. But we'll see what we get to. Anyways, but that's for future videos. To possess a dragon mark, a character must take the least dragon mark feat. He or she can increase the power of the dragon mark by adding the lesser dragon mark and the greater dragon mark feats, and by taking levels in the dragon mark heir prestige class. Also, the aberrant mark feat and the heir of Sybaris prestige class prestige class grant alternative dragon mark like abilities. When it is used, a character's dragon mark grows warm to the touch. It becomes fever hot when its spell-like abilities are used up for the day, and must be allowed to cool before its power can be drawn upon again. The descriptions of the dragon marks that follow use the format outlined below. So this I actually thought was interesting when I was reading it again last night. The fact that it gets hot when it's actually used. I think I missed that originally. But that would also be like super awkward when you have an ability. It's like, hey, you can use it twice per day, but okay, I've used it, and now just my arm is burning for the next 12 hours, until it resets or whatever.
And it's a little bit more interesting than that because, well, I mean, they kind of mentioned this before, but the non-living only example of the mark of death can actually use their ability a lot, which kind of implies that an original bearer of the mark, of the dragon mark, actually might have vastly more power than a person who has inherited the dragon mark.
So you're saying the first person ever to manifest the mark.
Yeah. Or rather, considering we kind of know the tale of her, the first person to be given the dragon mark by a dragon.
Okay, then that's a story that I haven't seen, that I haven't read yet.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun.
Is that out of a novel or is that out of the Dragon Mark book?
Both. It's brought up in Dragon Marks, and then it's expanded upon in one of the I think it's one of the trilogy of books. And yeah. The one that's all about her. So
got it. And by her, I'm assuming you mean the elf that has the mark of death.
Yes, the last living member of the House of Vol.
Got it. Okay. So that's one thing that like I do kind of miss. Like it seems like they did like a half dozen. Like, I mean, I know it was more than that, but it seems like they did like a half dozen Eberron novels and then just stopped. And I know there's a bunch I haven't read.
Yeah, I mean, Keith Baker has continued to self-publish novels the whole time. So, and I think one or two other people as well, that were part of the writing circle. So there are actually a few more books that have actually come out since then, but like they're ebook kind of stuff. So you're not going to find like the physical
right
book of them. So
right,
but yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's keep going. I'll finish this section and then, like I said, I take a hit this time. All right. So, all right, we're gonna see. So this is basically going to break down how it'll read through the different dragon marks. So we got the dragon mark name. A general summary of the dragon mark's powers and influence starts each mark's description. House. Each dragon mark appears among the members of one large extended family, or in the case of the Mark of Shadow, 2 families. By no means does every member of a dragon marked family possess a dragon mark, but it is extremely rare for a person who is not a recognized member of one of these families to develop a dragon mark, and such cases usually result from indiscretions on the part of a lesser scion of the family. Each house specializes in a trade or service for which its mark gives its members a competitive advantage, and it controls guilds that regulate commerce in its area of specialization. Each family is made up of a mix of marked and unmarked members, since dragon marks manifest randomly even among those with the ability to possess them. The guilds employ both dragon marked and unmarked people who may be family members or unrelated retainers. The dragon-marked individuals perform their specialized magical functions for the house, and the unmarked handle the more mundane aspects of the trade. For example, both marked and unmarked members of the Windwrights Guild, controlled by House Lorandar, work aboard ships. The marked heads of the family produce the wind to power the ships, while the unmarked masses fill the other crew roles aboard the vessels. Chapter 8, Organizations, discusses the Dragon Mark houses in more details. So also as we're going down this page, folks, you will notice along the side an example of a dragon mark. So here we've got the mark of Sentinel, which I forget who has that. We'll actually look at that in just a second. I skipped over the table. But so you'll see the least, the lesser, the greater, and the Sybaris mark. But the Sybaris mark, we'll learn more about that next week when we cover prestige classes. So come back then. All right. Each dragon mark appears in 3 increasingly powerful aspects and grants a single spell-like ability to characters who have the mark. If more than one spell-like ability is mentioned for a specific mark, a character chooses one that he possesses permanently thereafter. Anyone who carries a least dragon mark also gains a bonus to a certain kind of skill check. This benefit is in addition to the mark's spell-like ability. A dragon marked character can use his mark's spell-like ability a certain number of times per day. He uses the ability as a sorcerer with a caster level as indicated in the descriptions of the dragon mark feats earlier in this chapter. Each more powerful aspect of the dragon mark stacks with the less powerful aspects so that a lesser mark retains the power of a least mark and a greater mark retains the power of its associated lesser and least marks. Whoa. All right. So real quick, I want to just look at the marks real quick because I also want to point something out because a lot of people may miss it. All right. So here we've got our least dragon mark. So this is the smallest one. When you take the least dragon mark feat, this is what you're going to get. Okay. If you upgrade and get the lesser dragon mark, then you get this guy. Now keep in mind, all of the marks have a different design. They are all, shown throughout the book through the through chapter. Is this chapter 3 or chapter 4?
I believe we're chapter. Hold on. Still chapter 3.
Still chapter 3. Okay. So throughout chapter 3, they do show all of the different marks. So they are all different. We're just using this one as an example. So this is our lesser. And then we go to the greater. Now they all kind of look like dragons and whatnot. And then we get to this crazy guy, and this is the Sybaris mark. Now this is essentially the most powerful mark. It is also extremely rare. But I want to point out one thing right here. This little, as I'm mutating the screen, just this little dark section of the Sybaris mark. This is just kind of an Easter egg that I thought was kind of cool. If you look, the least mark is shown within the Sybaris mark as this kind of shadow. So I thought it was kind of neat. But there's that. All right. So
I wonder if there's a reason for that.
All right. So here is the list of all the dragon marks. Mark of detection, finding, handling, healing, hospitality, making, passage, scribing, sentinel, shadow, storm, and warding. The house that it applies or that controls it, the races that are allowed to take that particular dragon mark, and then the guilds that are associated with them. So you can review the chart on your own time, folks. We're not going to read everything off because we'll get there eventually. Questions, comments, concerns, or otherwise?
No.
All right. Well, then you're up. Take us through our first mark.
Alrighty, the Mark of Detection. The Mark of Detection grants abilities that enables its possessor to discern the presence of threats, from poisoned food to scrying eyes. House. The half-elves of House Madani carry the Mark of Detection. One of the youngest of the dragon-marked houses, House Madani, organized into a mercantile house as a result of the War of the Mark that ended 1500 years ago. Despite the fact that it has stood as an established mercantile house for 15 centuries, some of the older houses still view House Madani as an upstart. Unconcerned with the opinions of its peers, House Madani controls the Warning Guild, which offers services related to personal protection. House Madani originated in Breland, and continues to concentrate its efforts in the central region of Corvair. Unmarked members of the House of House. I am just tripping over my words. Of House Madani sell their services as scouts, sentries, and similar occupations. Marks. The aspects of the Mark of Detection grant the following benefits. Least Mark of Detection, detect magic twice a day, or detect poison twice a day, and +2 bonus on spot checks. The Lesser Mark of Detection, detect scrying once a day or see invisibility once a day, and the Greater Mark of Detection, true seeing once a day.
Cool. So this one I think is kind of interesting because when you read through Eberron, they're really pushing that noir detective story. But it also kind of makes me wonder how a like not necessarily like a solo game, but maybe like a one-on-one game would go with just a GM and a single player who's playing that detective. You know, because like to me like detective / mystery kind of stories, like in a role-playing game, you know, you end up with like 4 or 5 characters. Oh, we're gonna go on a detective mystery. Why do we have 8 guys trailing along? You know? So I was thinking about that when I was reading through. Real quick, because I interrupted, I do want to point this out. Law Dog did become a member of the channel. Thank you so much. I only have, real quick, folks, I only have one tier. It's the tip jar. It's $2 a month. And you know, I also do giveaways if I have 10 members. So something to think about, where I will print and paint a miniature for you. So anyways, there's that.
What if
Anything
we just
else?
want a printed miniature?
What?
What if we just want some printed miniatures?
Well, we can discuss that if you ever win, Seraphis. That's a separate issue. Let's get back to the book.
No, more instructions, damn it.
All right. So, Mark of Finding. The Mark of Finding bestows powers related to locating creatures or objects, making those who carry it useful as investigators or bounty hunters. In addition, members of the Finders Guild serve an essential role in locating dragon shards and selling them to other guilds for attunement. See, this actually, real quick, bounty hunters. Okay, that I could see as a group activity, you know, with all the noir stuff. Just all the detective stuff. Just it's like I don't see detectives going out in a herd. All right. So the House Thrash is a family of half-orcs and humans, originally from the region around the Shadow Marches. It controls the Finders Guild, which includes freelance inquisitives, some law enforcement agents, explorers for hire, and Dragon Shard prospectors. The Finders Guild concentrates its efforts in Western Corvair, where a lucrative Dragon Shard prospecting business flourishes, although its members are found in every major town and city. The unmarked members of House Thrash assist their dragon-marked kin in every area. They offer mundane investigative services and help on Dragon Shard prospecting expedition. The aspects of the Mark of Finding grant the following benefits. Least Mark of Finding, identify once per day, know direction twice per day, or locate object once per day. Also a +2 bonus on search checks. The Lesser Mark of Finding gives helping hand once per day, or locate creature once per day. And the Greater Mark of Finding, find the path once per day. Okay.
The Mark of Handling grants powers related to care and control of animals. House. The humans of House Vidalis. I was trying to figure out how to properly pronounce that.
We're reading it. Give it your best guess.
Yeah. The humans of House Vidalis carry the Mark of Handling. Their Handlers Guild controls the business of breeding and selling livestock through Corvair. Though the elves of Valanar are gaining a reputation for breeding the finest horses in Corvair, their steeds are rare and expensive, while House Vidalis provides a strong, loyal, and affordable mount. Unmarked members of House Vidalis are animal handlers, breeders, auctioneers, stable keepers, drivers, and teamsters. Mark. The aspects of the mark of handling grant the following benefits. Least mark of handling. Calm animals once a day. Charm animal once a day. Or speak with animals once a day. And a +2 bonus on handle animal checks. The least mark of handling provides dominate animal once a day. Or greater magic fang?
Yes.
I don't know that one. Greater magic fang once a day. And greater mark of handling animal growth once a day, or summon nature's ally 5 once a day.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, you're going to get a powerful beastie. Which,
if I remember correctly, I believe it's House Vidalis that's also part of the Mage Breed sect as well.
I don't know. But I'll take your word for it.
So there. Where was that? Oh yeah. So the Valinor horses, they're bred with magic to kind of create a crossbreed of Fey and material plane creature.
Okay.
And I believe it's House Vidalis that also is the ones that make the mage bred animals, which if we ever get up to that stuff of the 5 nations and the mage bred creatures, they are some really like.
Well, if it's in this book, I guarantee you we'll get up to it. You know?
No, I don't think it's in this book.
Oh, well, tune in later, folks. We'll find out if we get other books. Depends on how everyone thinks we're doing.
Badly.
Badly. No, this one, I think there are some useful I think there's some useful abilities in the marks here. Calm animals, charm animals, speak with animals, I think could be useful in a general campaign. The summon nature's ally, I don't remember exactly what that spell does, but I'm assuming it summons like Treebeard or something.
Yeah, so it's like summon monster, but it's the druid version. So it's summon a natural creature. Yeah.
Right. So obviously there's some good stuff here. I don't necessarily know about the role play opportunities, but I think the mark itself has some good benefits to it. So
yeah.
All right. The Mark of Healing grants curative magical powers. The halflings of House Jurasco carry the Mark of Healing and operate the Healers Guild, which controls both the mundane and magical healing trades. A sick or injured person in Corvair is far more likely to seek healing from the Healers Guild than from any temple, and in fact, most temples do not offer healing services for sale, though they still heal their own champions and faithful when necessary. Which that I think is an interesting twist. A sick person is going to go to the Healers Guild as opposed to the temple. So, especially for like a default D&D game where people are like, "Oh, I'm just going to go find a local cleric." What do you don't go to church here? Go away. Go find a halfling,
There's a image in one of the books. I can't remember if it's in this one or one of the others, where it's got a gnome. Is it gnome?
Halflings.
Halflings. I remember it's a little person. I can't remember whether it was gnome or halfling. It has a halfling with the banner of House Jurasco, and they're trying to heal someone on the battlefield, and in the background you just see these massive Warforged titans battling these siege engines, and it's just, and the look on his face is like, please hurry up and heal, please hurry up and heal. Like, he's got his healing hand down, he's got the banner up so that everyone knows he's part of the healing guild, but his eyes are like to the side, kind of watching the massive battle in the background. And it's a really good like example of what the last war must have been like.
Sure. Legion of Myth says, I like how Dungeon Crawl Classics handles healing. Good luck if you're not I'm assuming it's luck instead of like, if you're not a member or ally of the faith, which you know what? I actually think for Eberron, I think that's actually a good rule. Like it even says that, temples don't offer healing services for sale, although they still heal their own champions and faithful when necessary. So yeah, like you're not going to the temple, you're not going to the cleric, you're going to you're going to House Jarasco, and you're hoping you've got enough cash, because let's be honest, they're halflings, so they're going to be sneaky and greedy anyways.
Finish reading up the section so I can talk about something.
Okay, fine. All right. Unmarked members of House Jarasco are expertly trained in the healing arts, as well as in fields such as alchemy and herbalism. The aspects of the Mark of Healing grant the following benefits. Least Mark of Healing, cure light wounds once per day or lesser restoration once per day, and +2 bonus on heal checks. Lesser Mark of Healing, cure serious wounds once per day, neutralize poison once per day, remove disease once per day, or restoration once per day. I realize these stack, but real quick, greater Mark of Healing, heal once per day. I realize these stack, but like restoration, why would you take the same thing more than once? I mean, I know there's the feats that let you get extra abilities out of your mark, which could be good, but...
And then there's the dragon marked equipment as well.
I totally do not remember a lot of things from this book. I don't even remember dragon marked equipment. So again, folks, come back later.
I think it's actually in Magic of Eberron. There's like rods that are attuned to specific marks, and depending on the design of the rod, it can allow for you to utilize a different effect of your mark. So, like for example, if you've got the least Mark of Healing and you've got cure light wounds, the rod might will allow you to use lesser restoration as well. Okay, I disagree with that.
Okay. And I realize, yes, that's a completely different book, but we're in this book, so I'll allow the digression as opposed to the preview and come back later, because who knows when we'll get to that. If your mark hasn't manifested an ability, I would disagree with like a rod being able to let you use a different ability.
Yeah, okay. But the rod is programmed for that different ability. But you're using up your daily charge. So it's using up your charge of your mark, but you're able to use that different ability through the rod.
Okay, got it. So I didn't realize that you had to sacrifice the ability that you already have. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense, because then it would just be like, oh, I've got this rod, now I get to do extra stuff. Being able to trade it out, okay, that makes a little bit more sense to me. I was gonna say, well, have the rod and like, okay, I get to use my dragon mark ability an extra time, or it duplicates the amount, like so if I get to do it once per day, I now get to do it twice per day, or if I get to do it twice per day, I can do it 4 times. I could see something like that.
I mean, there are rods that do that as well, but like where the rod will provide you an extra use of your dragon mark ability, but there's also ones that allow you to use the alternate version or an alternate version of your mark, and it's designed with that mark in mind, but it still uses up your mark's charge. So yeah.
Okay, well, regardless, interesting. Obviously, this is like, why would you not have a halfling in your detective party?
Now, and here's the thing, because according to the Treaty of Thronehold, House Jarasco's neutrality is meant to be like considered universal throughout. So if you've got a halfling in the party who is of House Jarasco, who is not engaging in any kind of combat and is only there to help people, it would be an illegal move in game of the DM to target that halfling.
So he's a medic. He's got the Red Cross label on his hat.
Yes. Yes.
Ah.
As long as he's got his banner up or his markings of the house, he should not be targeted. And if he is, that means that House Jarasco can institute their I'm going to put it straight. They're assassins to come assassinate you and your family.
I mean, when you're a halfling who lives amongst the dinosaurs, how do you not have assassins? Let's be honest, folks.
I just want to know whether they ride the dinosaurs into their assassinations.
How else are they going to get there, Seraphis? I mean, come on, let's be reasonable here. No, that I think is kind of interesting. That also does kind of require the GM to be a little bit extra on his guard about being fair to the players.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I'm going to take out the halfling. Oh, cool. Well, the halfling assassins are going to come get you. Sure they are. I'm the GM. I can say that they don't. You know, that's an interesting little twist. I don't know. Regardless, this the again, a halfling with a mark is almost a no-brainer. So,
but just quickly, so the point I want to bring up. Remember how you were saying about how healing is done through the services of the guild and not through the temples, right?
Right.
The churches. Yeah, remember your complaint about the paladins?
Yes.
It makes a bit more sense now, doesn't it?
No.
Well, no, because they can only, technically speaking, a paladin can only heal those of his faith.
I would be totally okay with that too. Again, remember, my complaint isn't the paladin being able to heal. It's the paladin being able to heal himself. That's where that's where my brain is not locking in. So,
but it is just for the Warforged paladin, though.
Right. Again, that's where my is a weird. It's I realize it's my hang up, but it is what it is.
All right, let's head to the Mark of Hospitality. That Mark of Hospitality grants powers related to food and shelter house. The halflings of House Galanda.
That's how I'm going to say it.
Yeah. Galanda carry the Mark of Hospitality, which is extremely useful in the halflings' native nomadic culture. In the cities of Corvair, House Galanda operates the Hostellers Guild, whose members include innkeepers, chefs, and restaurateurs. No, restaurateurs. Yeah.
Yes.
Restaurant. I don't know where my brain is. What? In here, I think.
Exactly.
We'll agree to disagree. Okay. While the guild does not operate every inn and dining establishment in Corvair, it enforces standards and performs inspections to regulate those businesses. Our Mark members of House Galanda run some of the finest hotels and restaurants in Corvair. Marks. The aspects of the Mark of Hospitality grant the following benefits. Least Mark of Hospitality. Purify food and water twice a day. Prestidigitation twice a day.
Hold on. I'm actually going to interrupt. Food and drink.
Huh. Isn't it food and water?
Okay, now I'm actually curious. Let's pull out the official original printed book, which Seraphis probably has a high seas scan of.
Yes. No, the spell is create food and water.
I'm looking. Give me just a second.
Oh, no. This
It's
is
food and drink.
purify. Purify is different to create. Oh, my apologies. They shouldn't have things that sound almost exactly the same. Look, this was the good thing about AD&D. They just had reversal versions of things. Okay, anyway, sorry. Going off. Purify food and drink twice a day. Prestidigitation twice a day. Or unseen servant once a day. And +2 bonus on diplomacy checks. The lesser mark of hospitality, create food and water once a day.
There we go.
Or Lehman's secret shelter once a day. Oh, secure shelter, sorry. Ah, jeez. And greater mark of hospitality, Hero's Feast once a day, or Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion once a day.
All right, I've got to ask, does the greater mark of hospitality create tacos or sushi?
Technically speaking, if we go by the... Well, hold on. The original rules is written, or the stuff provided in Player's Handbook 2 and Rules Compendium?
Do you not get my joke?
I'm trying to be unfunny to you.
Fine, answer it in your unfunny way, Seraphis.
If we're allowing for creative control, yes, it's Taco Tuesday every time.
It's Taco Tuesday every time.
A hero's feast of nothing but tacos and hot dogs.
So I will admit, I had, like, I still think the picture is dumb. I honestly do. But I know I've made the argument somewhere that I'm actually not entirely opposed to that particular piece of art. A lot of people get upset. They're like, oh, why does it have tacos and sushi and, you know, drinks with little umbrellas in it? Yes, that does take you out of the setting a bit. But for trying to describe what does Hero's Feast do or what does it look like, for a modern audience, I think it does help explain that.
I disagree with you, because a Hero's Feast should always be an elaborate feast of the culture of the person who it is being created by.
That's fair. No,
So,
I'm for an in-game description, I would totally agree with you. Totally agree. Remember, what I'm saying here is that piece of art from new 5th edition, you know, everybody wants to give it grief for having tacos and sushi, but when you're talking to players and you're trying to describe just this massive banquet, they may not necessarily relate to a roast turkey or a typical medieval feast. But if you can show them, no, this is massive, and this is a big bounty of food, for that piece of art, I can understand it. It's not how I would ever describe it to players, but I get it. And Malachi is... Go ahead.
Yeah, you go.
I was going to say, and Malachi is completely right. If there are tacos, an orc should have cast the spell.
I was going to say, the Hero's Feast from the Mark of Hospitality absolutely 100% should have a roast dinosaur as its main presentation, and lots of kind of I want to say kind of like African style,
like lentils or something,
bread patters and things like that, and you know,
Sure.
the stews and stuff. Because like that, as we saw from the art in the previous chapter, that's what they look like. That's what their culture looks like.
Oh, sure. No, I have no issues with that. I just wanted to bring up the new 5th edition art and sort of make fun of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, the new 5th edition art can definitely die a horrible, painful death.
Okay, I'm not going to go that far in most cases. But no, it was just kind of funny because seeing that spell mentioned, you know, anyways, it was fun.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
it's just Heroes Feast.
Again, but we got to have a little chat making fun of art. It's fine.
Yeah, I know. But Eberron has a better version of Heroes Feast.
Well, why don't we save that for when we talk about Magic in like 3 weeks?
At this rate, I feel like it's going to be 3 years.
No, it's not. We're actually. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do with spells, folks. I'm not just going to sit there and read lists of spells off that are already written in like 8 different locations. So just keep that in mind. Okay, and last before we go on, Malachi has a great point. There is so much bad art that the good art gets ignored because there is some good art in new 5e. That yeah, the bad art just like the press it gets just drowns it out. So
you'll have to show me that good art. All I seem to be seeing is the bad art.
I don't know where my son's player's handbook is, but there's one specifically that I could show you that you're going to be like, okay, that's a good piece of art. So, but we'll do that later.
Is it like this good?
It's different. It's different. It's not like it's Wayne Smith, right? Is the guy
Reynolds?
Wayne Reynolds. That's right. I knew I was getting the last name wrong. Wayne Reynolds does good art, but he's got a very distinct style. So it's a different style. But like I said, I'll show it to you, and you'll be like, okay, that's a good piece of art. Okay. So, anyways, moving on. The Mark of Making grants the power to mend or fabricate material goods. The humans of House Cannith carry the Mark of Making. Members of their Tinkers Guild often travel as widely as more traditional tinkers, stopping in villages to repair goods as they go. House Cannith also runs the Fabricators Guild, whose members include those with lesser or greater marks who can fabricate new items rather than just repair old ones. Unmarked members of House Cannith are well-to-do artisans and less often mundane tinkers. Keep in mind, folks, the House Cannith is also literally responsible for the Warforged. So, hence why Mark of Making. All right. The aspects of the Mark of Making grant the following benefits. Least Mark of Making, make whole once per day, mending twice per day, repair light damage once per day, and a +2 bonus on craft checks. The lesser Mark of Making gives minor creation once per day or repair serious damage once per day. Greater Mark of Making, fabricate once per day or major creation once per day. And most of these are new spells that we'll get to sometime in the future. once we get to Magic. So again, this is if you're going to have a Warforged in the party, this is not a bad idea to take. If not, I'm not entirely sure how useful it would be.
See, there's a lot of ability to be able to, especially with like make whole and mending. Those abilities really lend themselves to being able to repair broken weapons and armor on the field. So that can be really useful.
Except, how often does armor and weapons actually break in a game?
In 3.5, if you get off a good sunder, you will break someone's weapon.
Okay. My point is, remember, armor technically just gives you a bonus to your armor class. It's not like Palladium where like armor and shields have like a specific rating and take specific damage.
Yes, they do.
So
If you target someone's armor or weapon, you're hitting that armor or weapon for its hit points, for its AC, for its durability.
I don't
And if
remember
you've
that.
got an adamantium weapon, uh, you're probably gonna break their opposing weapon or armor.
No, I'm not saying there's not abilities that can't do it.
It's not an ability. You just declare that you're targeting the other person's weapon or armor. It increases the difficulty slightly, and then you're going by the rating for the weapon or armor.
Okay, I'm going to have to reread those rules. It's been many years, and I never got to play much, anyways. So I am going to claim
someone who's
ignorance.
currently playing.
That's fair. That's fair. You know. Anyways, Coco B says, wish I had the mending cantrip. So many uses. That's fair.
Especially with kids.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Do you know what they came to me the other day with?
No?
2 of my broken water pistols. They didn't used to be broken. Had to bin them. Very upset. They were good 90s water pistols too.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right, heading on to the Mark of Passage. The
Okay.
Mark of Passage bestows magical powers related to transportation and teleportation. House. The humans of House Orion are the bearers of the Mark of Passage. They control a worldwide couriers guild that uses its powers to carry parcels, messages, and people over great distances instantaneously for a high price. The house has holdings and operates across Corvair, though it traces its origins to Undare. The house's transportation guild oversees lightning rail and caravan routes throughout central Corvair. Unmarked members of House Orion work as mundane couriers, often within the boundaries of a single city or nation. So they're the postal service. Marks. The aspects of the Mark of Passage grant the following benefits. This Mark of Passage: expeditious retreat once a day, mount once a day, or dimension leap once a day, and a +2 bonus on survival checks. A character with the dimension leap spell-like ability can teleport up to a total of 10 feet per character level per use. The character can leap a shorter distance than his maximum, as long as the distance is in 10-foot increments. Using Dimension Leap is a standard action. Lesser Mark of Passage, Dimension Door once a day, or Phantom Steed once a day. And Greater Mark of Passage, Overland Flight once a day, or Teleport once a day.
Okay. Okay, so I get how it's related, dimension leap, but at 10 feet per use, I don't know how useful that is. I mean, tactically it could be useful, but I'm just trying to think of it in a guild sense. You know? Oh, actually, so 10 feet per character level. So if you get up to, but even then, it's still only 20 or 200 feet at most if you're level 20.
For first level ability, first level spell. Right. 200 feet? That's pretty good.
Well, no, remember, it's 10 feet per level, per character level. So you'd have to be level 20. Again, tactically, it's good. I'm just wondering, why would a guild have this ability? It's like, here, I am going to transport things 10 feet. Oh, you just got a mark. Here, 10 feet.
It's... I guess you can phrase the best way to put it would be jumping through walls, essentially.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Because that could also secure locations.
Yep.
Of course, that gets you into the secure location, but then you can only use it once per day.
Unless you have like a tuned Eberron, Sybaris Dragon Shard, in which case you can use your ability a second time.
That's fair.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a large object to be only get one extra use out of. But still, that's still something where technically, yeah, it does mean that your postman could also be the guy who's robbing your vault as well.
That's fair. All right, let's move on. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know why I forgot. All right, Mark of Scribing. The Mark of Scribing grants powers related to writing and communication. Those who carry it specialize in the magic of the written word, serving as diplomats and translators, or facilitating communication over long distances. The gnomes of House Civis carry the Mark of Scribing. This house controls the Speakers Guild, which offers the services of translators and mediators, and can facilitate instantaneous long-range communication by means of sending. In addition, House Civis controls the Notaries Guild, which uses Arcane Mark to certify legal documents and similar work. This guild also prepares secure documents intended for specific recipients using illusory script and performs transcription and copying services. House Civis originated in Zalargo and has spread along with the gnomes throughout the 5 nations. The house does not usually operate in regions where gnomes are rare. The unmarked members of House Civis serve as mediators, scribes, messengers, go-betweens, and sometimes diplomats. The aspects of the Mark of Scribing grant the following benefit. Least Mark of Scribing, Arcane Mark 2 times per day, Comprehend Languages once per day, or Whispering Wind once per day, and a +2 bonus on Decipher script checks. The Lesser Mark of Scribing gives Illusory Script once per day, Secret Page once per day, or Tongues once per day. Greater Mark of Scribing, Sending once per day. A description provided by a client makes you familiar with the recipient. Okay. And all right, there we go. The Mark of Scribing.
So it does kind of play on the gnomes' like already kind of latent psionic ability that they have in Eberron, but I feel like it's not as bad as like how notorious some of the non-Dragon Mark gnome guilds in Corvair already are.
Non-Dragon Mark gnome guilds.
Yes.
I think I'm missing something.
So when we get up to organizations, I think it's in that one. Basically, no. Yep.
You're not wrong, Legion of Myth.
Yeah, the gnomes operate various, a couple of different guilds that aren't associated with Dragon Marked houses, right?
Okay.
And one of them is basically as how do I want to put this? Basically an illegal telepath guild who basically use their latent psionic abilities to basically just like have conversations with people, grab something out of their head, like the information that their client wants, and then they just bugger off. Or they've been contracted by someone to engage with someone, innately charm them to basically hand over their stuff, and then they just bugger off with this person's stuff.
Okay. That is all right. More to come, folks. All right, let's keep going.
Okay, the Mark of Sentinel. Conveys powers that protect creatures from harm. House. The humans of House Denath carry the Mark of Sentinel. They put their powers to use in the Defenders Guild, which offers comprehensive bodyguard service to persons of position and wealth. The house also provides sentinel marshals that have jurisdiction across national boundaries. House Denath originated in Karnath, but the Defenders Guild operates across Corvair. The unmarked members of House Denath work as bodyguards without the benefit of magical assistance. Mark. The aspect of the Mark of Sentinel grant the following benefits. Least Mark of Sentinel, mage armor once a day, protection from arrows once a day, shield of faith once a day, or shield other once a day, and a +2 bonus on sense motive checks. Least Mark of Sentinel, protection from energy once a day, or lesser globe of vulnerability once a day. And the greater mark of the Sentinel, globe of invulnerability once a day.
Yeah, like if you're playing a human fighter, there is pretty much no reason not to take this mark.
Pretty much it. I mean, a fighter is already pretty damn tanky in 3rd edition, but this just amps it up.
Yeah, and again, so go get some of the equipment or the feats that let you get either extra abilities or more uses. Yeah, again, this is for 3rd editions, character optimization, notoriety. This is almost no reason not to take it.
And like, if you're being successful too, you could easily take your earnings, go to an artisan guild member of House Karnath, and like dump a bunch of coin on them, tell them to do a rush job, and like stick Dragonmark resonated Sybaris Dragon Shards in the hilt of your like weapon, your armor, your like rings, everything to basically allow you to use your preferred Dragonmark ability more times.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
All right. You're up. Yes. There we go. Is it me?
It's you.
Why do I keep forgetting? Holy crap. Sorry, folks. It is a day. All right. The Mark of Shadow grants divinatory powers of clairvoyance and scrying, as well as illusory powers of deception. One of the most surprising and devastating effects of the last war was the schism of the family that carries the Mark of Shadow. House Fjarlin, an elf family of ancient lineage, carried the Mark of Shadow for millennia before the last war, and was known as an information clearinghouse. During the war, however, the mission of the house turned its members against each other, eventually resulting in the formation of a new house, House Tharani. The two houses continue their ancient work of espionage, surveillance, and similar intelligence gathering activities, while outwardly pursuing mercantile activities based on entertainment and artisan endeavors. House Fjarlin's Entertainers and Artisans Guild is based in Breland, and its spies work for, or sell information to, Thrain, Aundair, and Breland. House Tharani, based in the Lazar Principalities, but with an enclave in Breland, controls the Shadow Network. Its members perform their spying activities on behalf of the Lazar Princelings, Karnath, Drome, Kabara, and even the Order of the Emerald Claw. Unmarked members of both House Fjarlin and House Tharani work as entertainers and artisans who gather information and serve as spies and rogues. All right, so this actually I think is interesting. The fact that it, like, I always knew about the split, but rereading this, like, in the war, like, okay, so they operate as spies, but if you're supposed to be this neutral house, why would anyone trust you anyways? So the split makes perfect sense because, well, we like these guys and we want them to win. Then the other side, well, we like these guys, we want them to win. And even then, during the 100 years, probably was some shifting, amongst them, but it is kind of interesting to have that split, based on, like, in my opinion, based on the war. So, that I think is kind of cool. Unmarked members of both House Fjarland and House Thrani work as entertainers and artisans who gather information and serve as spies and rogues. The aspect of the Mark of Shadow grant the following benefits. Least Mark of Shadow, darkness once per day, disguise self once per day, or minor image once per day, and a +2 gather information checks. Lesser Mark of Shadow, clairaudience or clairvoyance once per day. Right, so does that mean that you get both?
No. So this spell is both options. So you can either have a visual reading on the area that you're trying to look at, or you can have the audio of the area that you're trying to focus on.
Okay, so it's the same spell, but you have to pick whether you want video or audio.
Basically.
Got it. All right.
You've only got one socket, and you can choose either to hear it or see it.
That makes sense. Like, because I was like, well, why would they do that instead of just clairaudience once per day or clairvoyance once per day? But that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah, and it is like a second level spell or something. So, like, essentially, a low level scrying at that level is not too bad. So
cool. Shadow conjuration once per day or scrying once per day. Greater Mark of Shadow, mislead once per day, prying eyes once per day, or shadow walk once per day. Again, with the detective setting, it makes sense.
Now that we've done the Mark of Shadow, I want to quickly reference something that didn't get brought up in the Mark of Making, which is House Cannith, because House Cannith is currently going through the exact same thing as this, as
the split.
Yeah. So currently House Cannith exists as Cannith West, Cannith East, and Cannith South. Cannith South is the one who is run by Merrick's great grandson. And he's the one who
more Warforged.
Yeah, he's the Warforged guy, basically.
Okay.
And he's generally at the moment got the most power because he's also the one who's got a direct connection to Zendrick and is bringing back more information and more knowledge from the ancient giants ruins about artificing. So in terms of the mark in that regard, Cannith South is currently dominating the other two. Okay. But the other two are trying to position themselves to be invaluable to Breland and Thrain, I think it is. So they're trying to entrench themselves into the politics there so that they become essentially protected by those nations in case Marek tries to do a takeover.
Okay. The fact that essentially the Cannith homeland, Sire was nuked anyways, having them start to develop a split after the fact makes perfect sense. So, But again, folks, if we do more books, you'll learn more.
Yes. Okay, the Mark of Storm grants the power to control weather, primarily through the manipulation of clouds, wind, and rain. A character with the mark can create a short, localized drizzle or a powerful rainstorm, a short breeze, or enough wind to propel a ship across the sea. The House Elves of House Lorandra carry the Mark of Storm.
Hold on. The House Elves?
The Half Elves. Yeah,
I could be wrong. It's just what I heard, and it made me laugh.
No, it's because Grim was playing a bloody video before that was mentioning Dobby, and now I've got that on my
Dobby
brain.
Wants an airship, sir.
See, this is just too much encouraging of the Malfoy references again. So let's just kill that right now.
Master has given Dobby an airship. No, no, no. I regret nothing, folks.
The half-elves of House Laranda carry the Mark of Storm. Their Windwrights Guild dominates the business of shipping and transportation over both sea and sky. Their Raincallers Guild provides services to farmers across Corvair. Both guilds are found in every coastal nation of Corvair, and they proudly trace their ancestry to the elves of Aranel and the humans of Thrain. Unmarked members of House Laranda are prosperous farmers, plantation owners, and sailors crewing the ships driven by their marked relatives. Marks, the aspect of the Mark of Storm, grant the following benefits. Least Mark of Storm, enduring elements once a day, fog cloud once a day, or gust of wind once a day, and a +2 bonus on balance checks. The lesser Mark of Storm provides sleet storm once a day, winds favor once a day, or wind wall once a day. With sleet storm, a character can create either warm rain or freezing sleet. A character using wind's favor can create a localized area of strong wind, approximately 30 miles per hour, in any area 10 foot wide, 10 foot high, and 100 feet plus 20 feet per caster level long. The wind blows for 1 hour per caster level or until the character dismisses it. By concentrating as a full round action, the character can change the direction of the wind by 45 degrees. Greater Mark of Storm, control winds once a day or control weather once a day.
All right. I'm not quite sure how I would use that in game. I mean, it's not horrible.
See, there's an adventure. Give me a second to remember what the name of that thing is called.
Oh,
of the Golden Dragon.
Yeah, Flight of the Golden Dragon or something.
Yeah, Voyage of the Golden Dragon. That adventure would be really good for someone with the Mark of Storm because of how much travel and airship or ship nature is going on during that. I can see that one being very useful in that one.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. The Mark of Warning.
Here are my boys.
What?
And this one is my boys.
Okay. The Mark of Warding protects places from unwanted intruders and items from theft. The dwarves of House Kundarak carry the Mark of Warding. They control the Warding Guild, which specializes in security for businesses and precious goods. House Kundarak originated in the Mrorholds and now has interest in many large towns and cities throughout Corvair. The unmarked members of House Kundarak work as security consultants, often specializing in trap making as well as running the House Kundarak Bank. The aspects of the Mark of Warding grant the following benefits. Least Mark of Warding, alarm once per day, arcane lock once per day, fire trap once per day, or misdirection once per day. And the mark grants a +2 bonus on search checks. Lesser Mark of Warding, explosive runes once per day, glyph of warding once per day, or non-detection once per day. And Greater Mark of Warding, Mordenkainen's Faithful Hound once per day, Greater Glyph of Warding once per day, or guards and wards once per day. So, all right. Main issue I have with this is if you're exploring a dungeon, most of the traps are defensive. So why is your dwarf setting traps as you go along? I can understand the ones like arcane lock or non-detection,
Mordenkainen's Faithful Hound.
Yeah, Faithful Hound. I can see those. But in general, like I said, why am I setting up traps in the dungeon that I'm exploring?
Well, what if you've run into the dungeon because there were people pursuing you, or you know that there are others that are going to be going this way to get the same treasure?
That's fair.
Booby
That's
trap
fair.
the entrance and kaboom, boom, 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 baby.
Or you've gone into the room and didn't set off the 100 skeletons that are sitting there. How about we step back out and I'll just put this, alarm or, explosive runes or something on the door. So if they come after us, well, we get a warning.
Yeah.
That could work.
Yeah.
So, all right. So overall, I mean, my only issue with the dragon marks is the fact that, like I said, there are some that are very useful from a player standpoint. I was waiting for this. Why are there spells named after characters that don't exist in the setting? That is a great point, Malachi. But don't forget, it's a campaign setting that is still referencing back to the 3rd edition player's handbook. So,
yes, it's referencing the player's handbook before the spell compendium came out and gave a list of renaming all the spells that had a prominent person's name attached to them.
Right. And wasn't it spell compendium? Wasn't that just like a generic book? Or was that an Eberron book?
No, that was a general generic book. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I mean, you could call it something else in Eberron. You could call it, Kyber's Watchdog, or
really?
It's the dragon of the underworld. Why not? I was making a Hades reference.
Yeah, but Hades isn't inherently evil in Greek mythology. Kyber is the personification of evil.
Well, I could say, he wants to guard his evil domain with his watchdog. I don't know. Again, look, it was something I came up with in 30 seconds. Not even that. So
I'm judging you.
No, it's because of clout chasing. It uses names from a game people like to trick them into believing it's the same thing. Was that good enough for you, Max? All right. Anyways, like I said, I do think there are some great uses for dragon marks. I think a lot of them are going to end up just being like NPCs or things like that. A lot I don't necessarily see a use for. But I do think it adds like a lot of fun flavor to the setting. So,
I mean, it
needed more. Well, actually,
it really depends on what the mark is. Like the Mark of Shadow, Mark of Sentinel, like those ones were really good examples of dragon marks that really could be used regardless of what kind of game you're running in Eberron.
Right.
Because there's so much way you could utilize those abilities. Others, like say the Mark of Handling, or the Mark of Warding, your mileage could vary based on what you're doing, but I would say that if you're creating a character in an Eberron campaign, you really want to go into it thinking about what the campaign is going to be about, what the game is going to be about. So,
yeah, no, and I think that's true for any role-playing game. I'm just trying to kind of think in a general sense, because obviously you can create something, you can create a game that is focused around these abilities, or focused, or like, okay, maybe the abilities aren't as useful, but you're going to play a game that is focused more on the house or the characters in that particular house. So having a character with the mark would be a bit more useful. There's all sorts of reasons that you could force yourself to take it. I was just kind of looking at them in a general sense.
To answer Jonathan, yes and no. I mean, you've got certain characters like the Warforged book, but they are specific to Eberron and more so to the novels. I mean, there are pictures of Book and others, and Baristi, who are prominent spellcasters in Eberron's fiction, but unless you're actually diving into Eberron, you're not going to know who any of their names are.
Right. Well, and let's be honest, like somebody like me, I don't necessarily know who Mordenkainen is. I mean, I kind of know now, but when I was getting into the game, I didn't have the 15 to 20 years of diving into Dungeons and Dragons to know who Mordenkainen is. So, yes, I know it's a Greyhawk wizard. My point is,
it's like not knowing who Fistandentalis is.
Yep.
How do you not know who Fistandentalis is?
Burritos.
Fistandentalis. Say it. Fistandentalis.
I can say Fistandentalis. I don't know who that is.
He's basically the most powerful wizard in Dragonlance.
Sure. I'm going to go with Max on this one. Fistandantambooble.
I knew you were going to do that.
No, right. I mean, I think Jonathan makes it. It is a very good question, but there is there's a couple of problems. Number one, when Eberron came out, that was for the 30th anniversary of D&D. Okay, yeah. They had decades of novels, decades of source books, decades of when it was very heavy with source books, whereas Eberron came out in 2004, and they had 5 or 6 years where yes, they got heavy for source books, they got heavy for novels, but since 4th edition and especially into 5th edition, it doesn't get the same sort of treatment that the early campaign settings got, that Forgotten Realms got, that Greyhawk got. I would even say
Forgotten Realms. It's basically just Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, no, but I mean, Mordenkainen I know is Greyhawk. So, a lot of the...
But look at what they've used Mordenkainen for in everything since 3rd edition.
I don't know.
In 4th edition, he basically has a cameo for a book cover. And in 5th edition, the majority of his cameos are him as a useless NPC who doesn't help you and can't help you.
Right. But again, my point is just that, like, Eberron doesn't have a lot of the same, big characters, just because it didn't have, like, by the time Eberron came out, there had been 30 years of Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms supplements. And in the 20 years since Eberron came out, it hasn't gotten the same level of treatment that those campaign settings got.
It's almost like the card game people shouldn't have picked up a role-playing game.
Well, I'm not going to go that far, because let's be honest, if they hadn't, D&D would be gone. Like,
and there's some debate whether that would be better or not.
There's some. That's completely fair, but we're not here to argue that point. All right, so we've got about 30 minutes left. Let's see if we can get through religion. Yes, folks, we're going to talk about religion. Christians, Muslims, No, we're not. It's Eberron religions. All right.
Your God is fake. There we go. We've covered religion.
There we go. All right. Do you want to take the intro, or do you want me to do it?
I can do the intro.
Okay.
In Eberron, most people identify not with a specific patron deity, but with the church to which they belong. The faithful of the sovereign host, for example, usually revere the 9 deities together in a single temple, Those shrines devoted to the individual deities appear in major towns and cities across Corvair. The faithful may give particular reverence to one deity, usually the one whose sphere of influence coincides most closely with their profession or situation in life, but they collectively view themselves as loyal followers of the sovereign host. A paladin devotee of Dol Ara and a rogue who prays to Kol Koran are members of the same religion. They may differ in many aspects, certainly in alignment and ethics, but they do not see religion as one of the lines dividing them. A paladin who serves Dolara and a and and a paladin who serves the Silver Flame, however, are members of different churches and different religions. They are united in their ideals of their devotion to law and good, and they might work together extensively in pursuit of common goals, but they are likely to hold endless discussions or even heated arguments concerning theology issues and fundamental beliefs about the nature of the world. Races and religion.
Yes. Let's bring our real world arguments of religion and faith into our role playing game.
Hey. Because my God is a concept, that means he's better. Excuse me, no. My God is a gestalt amalgamation of all the dead children of the big dragon god. So he's better. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I'm just saying it's like I realize that religion is usually kind of an abstract concept in games. And I was actually thinking about it, quite a bit, because there should be a lot more conflict than there actually is. But I kind of like that everyone just like, oh yeah, it's there. It's fine. Just let's play the game. Because that's kind of my attitude. Let's just play the game. I've got plenty of religious opinions, but let's play the game.
I've been exposed to enough religions to have various opinions about various religions. So
right. So let's just keep it out of the game.
No, I want to put it into the game front and center so that we can hash out with violence. With violence. Races and religion. Let's hit the good topic, shall we?
Right.
The religions of Eberron are not, in general, racially based. Only the elves and the Kalashtar have religions that are entirely practiced by members of. That's weirdly worded. Only the elves and the Kalashtar have religions that are rarely rarely practiced by members of other races. The other races share a number of religions that welcome clerics and aberrants of all races and kinds. The deities by race table below summarizes what few racial leanings do exist towards specific faiths, and the deities by class table suggest common deities for members of the various character classes.
Yeah, and I want to bring this up. I think Jonathan makes a great point. I feel like with the dragon marked houses and the artificer, the priests in Eberron got overshadowed, even though there are some cool gods. I completely will agree with that. They did so well at creating everything that, but where they put the emphasis did take a lot of that away. Yeah, they created like some interesting cosmology stuff and just ignored it.
Then why did they make a whole book called Faiths of Eberron?
Well, guess what? That's a book for another time. Come back later, folks.
And now let's reference the only one worth knowing about. So, race, changelings, deities, the Traveler. Deities by class. Class, Artificer. Deities,
Wait.
the Traveler.
Hold on. Where are you?
I'm over on the tables.
Oh, well.
To your right. There we go. Up,
Got
up,
it.
up,
Okay.
up. See, the only one that matters, the Traveler and the Traveler. Did you know the reason why people get lost in Zendrick is because of the Traveler's Curse?
No.
Did you know you can walk for days and it'll still be sun outside and yet you'll go around in circles? It's so much fun.
Coming soon, folks.
Sorry, I love the Traveler. The Traveler is just amazing, and he got it got so little representation in all these books. It annoys the crap out of me. The Traveler is so awesome.
All right. Well, we'll get to the Traveler here in a minute, folks. But again, if you want to know what religion your race or class should take, it's all listed in this table. We're not going to read everything.
But the correct answer is the Traveler.
The correct answer is the Traveler. It's always the Traveler, of course. All right. So the Silver Flame, the lawful good deity called the Silver Flame, is an abstract, disembodied force closely associated with a once human woman named Tira Miron. Herself now immortal, Tira, now known as the voice of the Silver Flame, serves as the intermediary between the holy Silver Flame and the mortals who can never attain sufficient purity to communicate with the Silver Flame directly. The Church of the Silver Flame is dedicated to protecting the common... Whoa, let's figure out where we're at. There we go. The Cathedral of the Silver... See, the Silver Flame is real, folks. You can worship it.
Well, yes, because it's an just altered amalgamation of like millions of dead Coatl.
The common people against supernatural forces of evil, and thus it attracts a great number of paladins to its cause. The Silver Flame grants access to the domains of exorcism, good, law, and protection. The deity's favored weapon is the longbow, and archery is an important tradition within the church, which Seraphis is clearly unimpressed by.
Well, no, you can't just say we don't like lycanthropes anymore for no reason and then go on a crusade to wipe them all out and still hunt shifters to this day for no reason other than you can sort of shapeshift. They can go... I can't say anything because I'm trying to keep you family friendly.
Yes.
They can go lick a toad. There we go.
There we go. There we go. Get super high. Anyways.
Oh, thank you, Hungar.
Hey, Hungar. It's not. Thank you, Hungar. I appreciate it.
Hey, nerd as well.
And we've got nerds and man, sorry folks, I have not been paying as well attention to chat as I should.
All right, I'll dive into the Sovereign Host then. Yeah, we still got time. The Sovereign Host consists of the deities most commonly worshipped by the majority of Corvair's population. Most people revere the host as a whole pantheon, offering prayers to different deities in different situations. Even clerics are often devoted to the entire host rather than a specific patron. See page 35. Taken as a whole, the pantheon is neutral good, and its favored weapon is the longsword, the weapon of the martial champion, Doldorn.
So real quick, I just want to point out, I actually think that makes a lot more sense. Especially in like ancient, like polytheistic religions, I'm just going to use Egypt as an example. Like the gods were worshipped as a whole, as opposed to, I'm going to pick this guy or I'm going to pick that guy. It's like, no, I mean, they're all involved.
I mean, Tut's father kind of ruined that for a little bit, but yeah.
That's why he didn't last long. Anyways, I think their approach to a pantheon makes a lot more sense than how it's traditionally dealt with in D&D.
Yes.
So,
I do like it a lot.
all right. Arawe, god of agriculture, a deity of fertility, plant life, and abundance. Arawe, I'm probably butchering that, is neutral good. She claims many druids and rangers among her followers, as well as farmers, sailors, and any who are significantly concerned with weather or fertility. She is usually portrayed as a half-elf woman, sometimes as a halfling or a human, and occasionally as a bronze dragon. The sister of Balinor and the Devourer, and the mother of the Fury, as a result of her stuff at the hands of her evil brother, according to the holy texts. She oversees the domains of good, life, plant, and weather. Her favored weapon is the morning star. Yes, I'm going to skip over that word. I'll even do it in regular conversation, because... Anyways, all right, let's keep going.
Orion, god of lore and knowledge, a deity of lore and magic. Orion is lawful neutral, the patron of all arcane spellcasters, as well as sages, librarians, and scribes. He often appears as a gnome or human wizard in ancient texts, and occasionally as a majestic blue dragon. He is the brother of Onatar, the husband of Baldre, and strangely related to the Shadow. Associated with the domains of knowledge, lore, and magic, he favors the quarterstaff.
All right.
And
Balinor.
wow, a blue dragon. Yeah, I wonder who that is.
Are you... Huh?
And occasionally as a majestic blue dragon.
I don't know. Who is that?
We'll get to it, don't worry.
Okay. All right. Balinor, god of beasts and the hunt. A neutral nature deity associated with hunting and animal life, Balinor claims hunters, druids, barbarians, and rangers among his followers, since he appears as both a protector of nature and an exemplar of gently taking what one needs for sustenance from nature's bounty. Usually portrayed as a burly human, sometimes as a crude but good-natured half-orc, and occasionally as a stalking green dragon. He is brother to Arawai and the Devourer. Associated with the domains of air, animal, and earth, he favors the battle axe. Okay.
Baldre, god of community and hearth. Hearth?
Hearth. I say hearth.
Anyway. Baldre, the lawful god deity of community, is invoked as a protector of villages and homes, to bless marriages and to confirm government appointments, usually depicted in ancient texts as a commoner of any race, or sometimes as a copper dragon brooding over a nest of eggs. She is Orion's wife. The domains under her influence are community, good, law, and protection. Her favored weapon is the spear.
Dolorad, god of honor and sacrifice. The lawful good deity of honorable combat, self-sacrifice, and sunlight, manifests as a peacemaker, a careful planner, and a strategist. She serves as the patron of paladins, generals, and diplomats who fight their battles with words. In addition, in her role as a sun god, she brings light to pierce the darkest places of the world. She is commonly represented as a human or half-elf knight, shining with holy radiance, and sometimes as a red dragon perched on a cloud. Said to be the sister of Doldorn and the Mockery, she is associated with the domains of good, law, sun, and war. Her favorite weapon is the halberd.
Doldorn, no relation to Michael Dorn. God of strength and arms, the chaotic god deity of war, Doldorn appears as a paragon of physical perfection who promotes bodily strength as well as martial training. Most often depicted, yes, his brother does that too. Most often depicted as a heavily muscled human, sometimes as a dwarf or a half-orc, and occasionally as a silver dragon. He is said to be the brother of Dolara and the Mockery, associated with the domains of chaos, good, strength, and war. He favors the longsword.
Kolkoran, god of trade and wealth. Merchants, traders, and thieves revere Kolkoran, the neutral deity of trade and money, as might anyone who has money or wants more. He is depicted as a fat, cheerful human or dwarf in fine clothes. A few ancient representations of him show a white dragon lying on a bed of ice blue gemstones. Said to be the son of Oladra and Onatar, and the twin brother of the Keeper, he oversees the domains of charm, commerce, and travel. His favored weapon is the mace.
Sorry. I don't know why I got confused about where I was. Aladra, god of feast and good fortune. Gamblers, rogues, bards, and hedonists invoke the favor of Aladra, the neutral god deity of luck and plenty. She is often depicted as a young halfling, sometimes as an elderly human, and occasionally as a black dragon. The wife of Onatar and the mother of Kolkoran and the keeper, she is associated with the domains of feast, good, healing, and luck. Her favorite weapon is the sickle.
Okay.
Gee, wow.
Onatar, god of artifice and the forge. Onatar, the neutral good deity of crafts, industry, and fire, is the patron of artisans and artificers, smiths and smelters, and all who make things. Dwarves in particular revere him. He commonly appears as a dwarf smith in holy texts, and sometimes as a brass dragon. Wizards and scions who specialize in fire also place their faith in him. The husband of Aladra and the father of Kol Koran, and the keeper, he watches over the domains of artifice, fire, and good with his favored weapon, the Warhammer.
All right, the Dark Six. In some ways, the Dark Six can be considered a part of the pantheon of the sovereign host. It would be more accurate, however, to say that these deities have been cast out of the pantheon because of their evil ways. The Dark Six are the patrons of criminals, outcasts, and villains, as well as various kinds of monsters. The holy texts show them scheming against the sovereign host at every turn for reasons that vary from deity to deity. And their dark minions likewise plot against the followers of the sovereign host.
The Devourer, the brother of Arawi and Balinor. The Devourer is neutral evil. Stories say that he took advantage of his sister Arawi and thereby fathered the Fury. As Lord of the Deep Waters and Master of the Maelstrom and Reef, he represents all the destructive power of nature. The Sahagin worship him, while sailors fear him and seek to appease him. He is portrayed as a human or merfolk with seaweed in his hair and beard, as a Sahagin, as an enormous shark, or as a dragon turtle. Dude, seriously, pick a form. Stick with it, maybe.
That's what happens when you're just a concept.
That's fair. The domains associated with him are destruction, evil, water, and weather. His favored weapon is the trident.
Although, isn't it funny that they all have a dragon form? I wonder what that's about. Anyway, the Fury. The Fury is the neutral evil deity of passion driven to madness. Revered by those whose passion consumes their lives, she is commonly portrayed as a half-elf, sometimes as a drow, and occasionally as a snake-like worm of Kyber. Associated with the domain of evil, madness, and passion, she favors the rapier. You're muted.
Kim keeps going in and out of the house, so I'm trying to minimize the background noise. All right, the Keeper, the neutral evil lord of death and decay. The Keeper is the twin brother of Kol Koran. As Kol Koran represents the acquisition of material wealth, the Keeper embodies greed, hungry for the souls of the dead. He lurks in the darkness, hoping to snatch wayward souls as they pass to Dolur, the realm of the dead. He is portrayed as a gaunt or grossly fat human, as a lich or a ghoul, or sometimes as a skeletal dragon. Associated with the domains of death, decay, and evil, he favors the scythe. So I'll be honest, I started noticing all of the dragon representations, which totally does not surprise me at all. But I also like how they're mixing it up and they're bringing everything in. Like where all the good ones have some sort of like a colored or a metallic dragon. And then we're seeing some quote unquote evil dragons, skeleton dragon or whatnot for all of the
Half-fiend
evil
dragon.
Yeah.
And since I'll be covering it, I'll wait to make my notable observation then. But yeah, the Mockery, the neutral evil deity of treachery over honor. The Mockery betrayed his siblings Dolara and Dordorn, and was subsequently flayed and banished from the sovereign host. A skilled warrior, he claims evil fighters, rogues, monks, and assassins among his followers. He is portrayed as a ghastly human warrior with the skin stripped from his body, cloaked in the skins of his enemies, and sometimes as a half-fiend red dragon. He is associated with the domains of destruction, evil, trickery, and war, and the Kama is his weapon of choice.
Okay. The shadow is the literal shadow of Arion gained a life of its own as the price of his arcane mastery. Chaotic evil, it devotes its energy to dark magic and the corruption of nature. Many evil wizards and sorcerers revere the shadow, and many of the monsters in Droam invoke its name as well. It is usually depicted as a shadow, but sometimes, particularly in Droam, as a shadow dragon. It is associated with the domains of chaos, evil, magic, and shadow, and its favored weapon is the quarterstaff.
The Traveler. The most mysterious of the Dark Six, the Traveler is chaotic neutral and seems to have no connection to the other deities of the Pantheon. A consummate shapeshifter, the Traveler is said to walk the land in 1,000 disguises. A master of cunning and deception, it emphasizes subtlety and careful planning. In some places, the Traveler is known as the Giver of Gifts, but provides warn, beware the gifts of the Traveler. Revered by doppelgangers, lycanthropes, and a number of changelings and shifters, it is associated with the domains of artifice, chaos, travel, and trickery. Its favored weapon is the scimitar.
All right, I'm a little disappointed. We're talking about how we've got all these dragons, and even though the Traveler's like, oh, he's got thousands of disguises. I mean, come on, they still could have given him a dragon form.
No, he doesn't have a dragon form. He also has no connection to any of the other gods. That's a little bit weird, isn't it?
Oh, that's true, because he's not a brother or parent. He's just like, ta-da! I'm here.
Yes.
Interesting. Good point. Thank you.
Yes. There's so much I want to get into about the Traveler, but we'll save that for another time.
All
Let's
right.
just say I'm highly devoted to the Traveler.
We couldn't tell, Seraphis. All right. The Blood of Vol. The Blood of Vol cult attracts followers fascinated by death and the undead. The most dedicated of these revere an ancient lich who calls herself Vol, Queen of the Dead. The blood flows into the distant past through the earliest days of human civilization on Corvair, to the elf kingdom of Erenal, and even to Zendrick, the continent of secrets. Vol and her followers see undeath as a path to divinity, invoking negative energy in contrast to the positive energy that powers the undying court. They are captivated by the figurative and literal meaning of blood, and by heredity seeking to manipulate bloodlines and to accomplish some fiendish purpose. Vol herself is a powerful necromancer who has unlocked the secrets of undead creation. Clerics of the Blood of Vol are lawful evil. They have access to the domains of death, evil, law, and necromancer. The cult's favored weapon is the dagger.
Gee, I wonder who that half elf might be.
We'll find out soon. No,
the cults of the Dragon Below consist of a diverse group of fanatical sects that revere the power of the subterranean realms. Some of these cults seek to draw Kyber, the Dragon Below, up from the depths of the world, while others traffic with demons conjured from the deep regions. A few seek a prominent paradise in some lost cavern far below the surface, purifying themselves with blood sacrifice to make themselves worthy to find it. Though little unites these mad cults beyond their reverence for the forbidden power of Kyber, they are generally neutral evil, and all choose their domains from among Dragon Below. Earth, evil, and madness. I didn't know Dragon Below was actually a domain. Huh. Their favorite weapon is the heavy pick.
It makes sense if you're digging underground.
Yeah. Although I don't think they've really thought about that whole let's try to wake up Kyber and get him upstairs, that might end badly for everyone involved.
Usually evil cultists aren't thinking that far ahead. Just saying.
I mean, yeah, great. Let's shatter the entire world. That sounds like a great idea.
Maybe that's what is destined to happen. Have you memorized the dragon or the prophecies of the dragon?
The dragon prophecies?
Dragon,
Well, I've
whatever.
got it up on my other tab here.
Well,
gotcha there.
fair enough. All right. All right. The Path of Light. The Kalashtar of Adar follow no deity, but they do revere a universal force of positive energy they call Ilyana, or the Great Light. This force is lawful neutral. Most followers of the Path of Light are scions and psychic warriors, seeking to perfect their bodies and minds through meditation and communion with this light to prepare themselves for conflict with the forces of darkness, most particularly the Dreaming Dark of the Inspired of Redra. The few clerics find a source of divine magic in Ilyana and choose their domains from among law, meditation, and protection. Their favored weapon is the unarmed strike.
The Undying... Huh?
Their hands are deadly weapons.
Basically. The Undying Court. The elves of Aranel revere their ancient dead as incarnate deities, seeking advice from deathless counselors and petitioning their favor. Unlike undead creatures, the deathless elves of the Undying Court are animated by positive energy and are powerful beings of neutral good alignment. The domains associated with the Undying Court are deathless, good, and protection. The court's favored weapon is the scimitar.
All right.
And that's it. Wow, we actually got to the end.
We did it in under 2 hours.
And just in time, because, it's almost time up.
Right. No, that's what I mean. Like, I figured we were gonna, I'm like, we're going to go short today. And it's like, and we still barely made it within time. No, like we were saying earlier, I think they have done, or they did a really good job at creating a new world. All the stuff that, like I was saying, 30 years to develop Greyhawk, to develop the Forgotten Realms, probably significantly less to do Dragonlance, but even still, decades before Eberron came along. And so suddenly Eberron has to be like, okay, wait a second, what do they have? So what are people going to expect from this campaign setting? And I think they hit it, and did it well. The religions, feel lived in. They feel like, even for just a paragraph description, you get an idea of what are these competing faiths promoting, how can you work it into your campaign, things like that. I like this. Anyways, there's my 2 cents. Would you like to join in?
I mean, see, it's kind of hard of what to choose to say, because, like, we've also got the Fates of Eberron book as well, which is anything I can say right now is basically me just mentioning stuff from that book. So.
Well, I mean, obviously, it is cool that they still did stuff like that to expand further. What are the priests going to do? What are the clerics going to do? How would a paladin of this particular faith act? Even having something like the Path of Light, which is for scions. Well, you're still going to have your psionic characters, but then how would they act as a cleric? So I think there's definitely reasons to have those kinds of books. I'm just talking about the religions in general. I think they've developed them well. And I'm excited to get to Faiths of Eberron 3 years from now, maybe. At the rate we're going.
Don't worry, we're only up to chapter 4.
Right? But no, it is fun. I do like the setting. I know Eberron is either a love or a hate setting. But I enjoy it. I think they've done a lot of fun stuff with it, and I'm enjoying what we're doing. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, with that said, any questions from the crowd? I mean, we kind of hit comments as they were going along. I know other shows usually save comments for a break point, but we tried to mix them in where we felt was appropriate. Anything? I guess any last comments from Seraphis?
Worship the traveler.
Worship the traveler.
Or the traveler has come.
Or the traveler will be coming. One of the two. I don't know.
Ghostbusters, dude.
It's been a long time since I've watched Ghostbusters.
Sorry.
On,
that's the best joke of them all. And you didn't even get it? The traveler has come. My references are wasted on you.
Sometimes, yes. Look, the only line I really remember is, well, I mean, from the second one is dogs and cats living together, but from the first one, it's like, are you the keymaster? I am the gatekeeper. I mean, that's all I got. So anyhow, all right. Well, with that said, folks, I almost forgot that we have to do a giveaway. Let me stop that, and we'll switch to this. We'll make Seraphis small because I got to switch over to my messy work. Oh, all right, Seraphis, I'm gonna let you pick since I didn't put the poll up. We've got 2 miniatures to give away from my messy work table. We've got the half orc and the Warforged fighter. Which one should we give away today?
I want them both. Warforged.
All right, we're gonna give the other Warforged away. Well, another Warforged away. We've already done 2.
We'll go with the orc then.
Okay, we're doing the orc. All right, so if you are not a channel member, but you are here in chat, if you would like to win the orc, put a 1 in chat. Well, and I will add you to the list. If you are a channel member, you are automatically entered. So you don't, you can put a 1 in chat, but you don't have to because you're already there. Yes, Seraphis, you're already there.
Yeah, but say I put a 1 in chat.
Okay. We've got maxed out. Anyone else? Malachi, yes, you already won, but you can enter again. Anyone?
Okay, you still about? Or nerd?
I would say you have to actually comment. I'm not just going to add you because I know you're here.
Hungar's still a channel member, so he's still right.
Yeah, Hungar's already in the list.
Yeah.
Coco, I'm still putting you in the list. You keep showing up, man. It's Do you want to win a free miniature, Kimberly?
I want the things to go away.
Yeah, Kim wants the miniatures out of the house, not more in the house. So.
What if it was a My Little Pony?
I've already painted those for her.
Oh, there you go.
All right. So I think we've got everyone who's going to join in. So let's see. I'm gonna laugh if it's Hungar again. Oh. Coco!
Congrats, Coco!
All right. Because it's Coco, that's not what I wanted to do. Where's my screen? All right, Coco, if you really want the Warforged fighter, I'll send you the Warforged fighter. I don't have a problem with that. And I don't think Seraphis cares either. So, Coco, you're probably in like any one of the Discords that I'm in. I'm over in Legion of Myths. No, I'm not starting up my own Discord. I do not want to even try to manage that. Because it's ridiculous. Anyways, so reach out to me or reach out to reach out to Max over at Legion of Myth, or anyway, just get a hold of me through Discord. I know you're in one of them somewhere, and get me your address so that I can send that to you. So, all right. With that said, folks, it has been 2 hours. Thank you so much for hanging out. I absolutely appreciate it. We're having fun. Obviously, you guys keep showing up, so clearly you're enjoying it as well. So guys, seriously, thank you so much. We will be back next week where we'll go over prestige classes and oh yes, in
This week, next week, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
there is going to be a break coming up within the next couple of weeks, possibly 2 weeks. A 2-week break, because I am literally going to be out of town and I am not taking my setup with me. So maybe we'll do something from the road. I don't know, but don't count on it, folks. So with that said, I'm going to go, or we're going to go. Thank you so much for hanging out, and the stream's going to end.